tried to do the music that you wanted, Cory, but it just did not work.
You couldn't come up with Empire.
No, but this is giving it. It's giving it. It's giving it.
Come on. Turn it the other way.
It even has your name in it.
This one does?
Yes. Listen, if you shut your yapper, you'd hear it.
Zelnik Co, built from the ground.
Yeah.
Big noise, just a steady sound. Knowing what moves and what to leave. That's the difference you can't just teach. Every block got a different.
All right, are we ready?
Every deal got a
We're
different.
live. Right.
Been here long and you already
Good
know.
morning, everyone,
That's the way the real ones grow.
and welcome to Social Surge with Fly and Mo. I'm Mo Regalado over there. Is Miss Fly Jamerson?
Delivered.
That way. And then she's here and there and everywhere.
What is with
maybe
all
we
that
should.
stuff?
What if I take you off the stage, Fly, and then put Cory in the between us?
I like being in the middle.
You want to be in the middle? Good morning,
yeah.
Lauren.
Here, hold on.
On the gram, and Beth has joined us around the gram. Oh no, it's
Set the pace.
still happening. Okay. So, custom made this song for you, Mr. Zelnik.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You gotta send it to us. You gotta send it to us.
New York City.
Who did that? Who's doing that?
I'm learning. Yeah, I was doing it. I'm doing clicky.
Whoa now.
All right, we got DB in the house. Good morning, DB.
Hey, rerun. What's up?
All right. Okay. I'm so happy to have everybody here. Dr. Fromage has joined us over on the gram.
Yeah. City don't pause,
Uh,
just keeps on moving. Every block got
what
a
the heck?
story,
We
every
can,
day got a
fade out
rhythm,
now.
no shortcuts here. You either step in
See,
clean or you
I got a producer on the show. Everything.
Nice.
What is up with
Which is
that?
good because that one day that it was just me and Aviva, it was rough.
You're like, this is a little difficult. All right. So today on the show, oh my goodness, we got stuff happening. Visiting the legends.
That chat GBT photo was unbelievable.
I look a little old. I'm just gonna say that right now. It aged me, and it is nice to see what's coming. But
The chat GBT thing?
yeah, I
yeah.
zoomed in and I was like, I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Those wrinkles are not mine.
Stop. You guys look hot.
I am gonna be a hot grandma. Let's leave it there. All right.
Yeah, let's just hope that takes a long
Good morning,
time.
Jim. Good morning. We got Holly Pennington's joining us over on the gram. Zelnik and Company has joined us over there, as well as Regalado Real Estate Man. We got the whole family. We got the
Here we
whole
go.
damn family here. All right. So, Mr. Cory Zelnik,
Yes, ma'am.
both a friend, he is a mentor. He is, shall we say, I hope I'm saying this right, a mensch.
A mensch? A
I was
mensch?
gonna say zaddy, but
A
You were
what?
Daddy?
I am a daddy.
No,
but
said
specifically
zaddy.
with a Z, which works well with your branding. But a
Yes.
zaddy is. I'll tell you
Zaddy.
later. I'll tell you later.
Oh, offline?
That's a conversation to have. Over the
Yes,
phone.
yes.
Okay, so Fly and I have had this show. We started asking guests. I don't know why it never occurred to me not to ask you to be on, because you and I talk. If you are unaware, if you are new to Social Surge and you are just here, just letting you know that Cory and I do a thrice weekly show. It's 5:30 in the morning Pacific. It is 8:30 in the morning Eastern, and we talk about retail. We talk about commercial real estate, social media, and other shit we feel like talking about. We don't
have some
normally get
fun.
into politics, but
No.
sometimes it does.
We
you know,
have some, look, we talk about what we know and we have a little fun with it. That's all. Not too serious, but real stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So I was looking at some content that Mr. Chris Okada took at the real estate gala. And this
Okay.
actually was like, I know you and I have talked about it. You're like, why haven't you asked me on? And it almost became a joke. Like, I'm not going to ask Cory to be on now at this point. Because I'm just that contrary. So there are some things that I want to talk about, something specifically that you spoke to Chris Okada about
Okay.
the opportunity, but I don't want to get into that. I want you
Okay.
to introduce yourself to our audience. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. and X. So we've got lots of people for you to introduce yourself to.
Wow.
Who are you, Cory Zelnik?
I am Cory Zelnik. My company is Zelnik and Company, and we are coming up on our 20th anniversary this summer, and we are in the retail leasing business. Your bumper sticker says we rent stores. I'm in the retail leasing business for coming up on 40 years. I've been around retail. I am New York City born and raised. Anything you want to know about this city, just ask. That's me. That's us. Let's roll.
You know, I don't think I've ever asked you, how did you actually get started in retail?
Oh, this was very scientific. I was playing softball in the summer. In the summer of '86, a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, I work for this company in their Long Island office. They need somebody in Manhattan. They'll pay you $250 a week to walk the streets. You want to do it?" And that's how it started.
That's it. That's how it started.
You know what it was? You know, my story is that, and I don't blame anybody, but I thought I was coming out of school, and I thought I'd go down to Wall Street. No business degree, no anything, but I thought I was going to Wall Street. And, you know, I got hit in the face real quick. You know what Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That was me. And so I got this random job at the time, and I literally was walking the streets of Manhattan for $250 a week. I will say now that I am a much higher paid hooker, and I get more than that to walk the streets. I have graduated to escort.
At least you're staying connected to your roots. You didn't forget where you came from. All right.
I do. I say to connect to my roots, but in all seriousness, what's so interesting, not interesting, but a fun part about the business is that when a kid starts with me today, okay, the first thing I tell them to do is hit the streets. That's it. That's the business. That's the core. You know, as our mutual friend Bob Knackle says, you know, that's the blocking and tackling of this business. It's the basics, and you have to do it. You have to feel and touch and see up front. You can't just sit behind your computer and Google Earth everything because, you know, it provides you certain access. It's not the same thing. So that's how we got started.
You and I have talked about retail. Obviously, we talk about experiential retail all the time. We talk about why everybody wants to be in New York City. I want you to tell me about what brands are still getting wrong about brick and mortar.
Well, that's an interesting combination of retail related things in sort of one sentence / question. So I'll hit the experiential part first. Yeah. Experiential really became a thing at this point. I would say probably about 7-8 years ago, when retail. Okay, and obviously 7-8 years, it's pre-COVID. When retail started to change, at that point in time, retail was failing. Okay, and retail was able to use COVID as a convenient excuse for its failure, but they were failing beforehand. And so a lot of these retailers who were getting killed by the internet in various capacities, Amazon, whatever, said, we got to figure something out and we got to do something. And the word experiential came. And experiential wasn't just about, you know, going in and drive cars in a Formula One thing. It was about how you can interact with your customers on a regular basis. And so that became a retail shift in terms of the approach. And experiential, understand experiential is, you know, going into a boutique, some of the larger high-end boutiques, okay, to go shopping, but also know you can eat in their cafe while you're still there. That's experiential also. It keeps you in the store.
Well, hold on. This makes me laugh because remember Kmart's back in the day used to have like a cafe inside of them?
I don't remember the Kmart cafe. I recall like the Costco's and things where you can go buy like your chicken and they have the benches and stuff and you can sit there and eat, you know, and eat, right? Or who is it? Maybe I just read about this the other day. Maybe it is Costco or BJ's. I forget who it was who has like this like $1.50 hot dog and a soda deal,
Yeah, that's
right?
Costco.
That
Yeah.
they're keeping it. So
It's a loss leader, but it
Right.
brings people in, and then they end up spending more money.
right, but what they didn't realize is that they were ahead of the game experientially, right? They kept you in. You're physically interactive with the space that you're in. All right. Is this like this? Is the sideshow pantomime thing? Is that part of the routine here?
Do you not watch the show?
He does not watch the show. He's never watched the show.
Wow. That's fair because I don't always catch you guys on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah,
I just
so-
think that
so-
we're all, I love a crossover episode.
No,
but
keep
yeah,
keep
the
keep.
pantomiming,
So yeah, I
'cause
love
I
it.
don't actually have anything intelligent to say about this, so I'm just gonna
No. You know, you keep doing you as long as that hat is on. But yeah, so they were ahead of the game experientially, right? They kept you in the
Right.
store, right? You ate your dog, drank your soda, and then you went back and shopped. And so many of the luxury brands, you know, fast forward, the luxury brands have taken this to the nth degree. You know, Chanel, Hermes, Tiffany, they built cafes and eateries within the space. And so that's part of the experiential part, right? Initially, again, experiential was, oh, I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to go bowling. I'm going to go to the Formula One does these racing things, so I can be involved with it. I can go to the arcade. And yeah, that's experiential, but not the same as the pure retail experiential sort of situation.
And then also the girlies post about it on the Instagram or on the
That's what-
TikTok, and then it's
Yeah.
like free advertising because they want to take a picture of their little latte, you know, and then
Oh,
they
totally.
have their little bag next to it that they bought. Their like one little teeny thing, you know. It's good. It's very good.
No, the crossover works, you know, for a lot of them. So that's a big part.
It's a very smart marketing play. How do you think? So, well, let's go back to. I do
Sure.
want to get back to what brands get wrong about brick and mortar because there is a disconnect with how
Okay.
people. I think there's a disconnect, especially when we talk small, like mom and pop business, where they decide that they want to open up a brick and mortar, and really they have no business being in business. But how can going back to experiential, how can smaller businesses create that experience
Well,
just on a smaller scale?
Well, you know, clearly you got to look at, you know, because there's small and there's, you know, also very small. And so you have to look at what you have to work with from a physical, you know, space perspective. But I have seen a lot, I can't tell you every one of them, but I have seen a lot of these small mom and pops that if you come in and you know, and you're going to look like, and you spend some time there and whatever, you walk in and some of them will offer you some water, they'll offer you some tea or whatever. Those are the little things you could do. You know, you can only do so much with the physical makeup of your premises. You also have to be careful about expenses. You know, expenses are tight. So, you know, every cup of coffee, you know, every bottle of water and things like that. It sounds trite, but it can add up if it doesn't work. But those are some of the things that they do. But I think that when I see with the mom and pops, you really, really get a good, you know, one-to-one experience with the owner, because oftentimes you're dealing one-to-one with the owner, right? You go into the big shops and not every employee is perfect. And so you may not get, you know, the love and attention, blah, 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 that you may be looking for. And again, that's, you know, I think historically speaking, that's always been the difference between, you know, big shop versus mom and pop. But the small shops get to work the one-on-one experience better. That's their experiential part.
Okay, so now let's go to the question of what do brands get wrong about brick and mortar?
Well, I think today, what some of them, and they're getting better at it, they are getting better at it, had gotten wrong was that they were really taking up too much space. Okay. And you know, that hits me as a broker, right? More space, more rent, more commission. But in fact, from a pure operating perspective, when I allude to taking more space, it's that the way the system is designed now is you don't need back of the house space for inventory, right? You need minimal area, show your wares, and then someone will buy something and you'll just send it right to their house. And so just by not having that back of the house, which a lot of that is just the rear portion of your ground floor, and it costs you as much as the front portion of your space, it has an effect. And I think that it's taken some time, and it ties into existing leases and things like that. But the big boys, the big brands that we're all familiar with over the years are getting it right.
What surprised you over the last, I would say last probably 12, 15 months about some of these stores that are closing, and what has not surprised you?
Well, I think that, that's a little bit more national in scope, right? So I'm here, but national in
Right.
scope is, I mean, if you talk about who's like Joanne Fabrics, and you talk about some of these dollar stores and things like that, it's a combination of two things. One, oversaturation. How many dollar stores? They all come under different names, but they're all doing the same thing. And the Joannes of the world, and even the Bed Bath and Beyonds of the world, and things like that. So much of that stuff is so easily accessible online, and I don't know how well they could have adapted. If I'd known that, I'd be involved with the game. But they all went big on real estate, and it cost them a lot of money. But when there was a humongous market shift to convenience, which is online, and their products were pretty much solely online, that's how that affected them. That's I can't say that they were wrong. They just, they evolved into a situation they couldn't control. So it wasn't like someone, here's this internet thing, right? That's kicking everybody's ass, and then they decided to open up stores. So they didn't do it that way and got it wrong. I think the wrongness of it evolved, and so they try to adapt and adjust to these things. And I think that we're going to start to see it more and more as you and I and even Fly, we call them pharmacies, but they call themselves convenience stores.
Right.
CVS, Walgreens, right? So they're going the way of the dodo bird also, because so much of their front store business is all that online product: paper towel, toilet paper, toothpaste, etc. But what they're doing to adapt and adjust, and CVS is probably going to be the winner of all these guys, is because they adapted early. They got involved with insurance companies and things like that, and made it part of their business. But what they're doing now is they're going to start to experiment more. And Walgreens did this for a moment about 5 years ago, and then I don't know what happened. But CVS is going to come out with like these 2,500-foot express stores, really to make sure they have their pharmacy in place, because that's really what everybody needs. And then I'm sure they'll have some front store merchandise. I don't know what it's going to be. I haven't seen one yet, but they've made that announcement. So you have to be as flexible as possible. You have to adapt and adjust and things like that in order to avoid certain things. I think that, not everybody's a genius, right? But I think that some of the pitfalls that these guys evolved into, like we're talking about with Whole Foods, I just got to straighten out my brows. I had to straighten out my brows. We're on camera.
I saw that. I saw
that.
Mom and Dad, don't fight. Come on, Mom. Come on.
One was there for you too, little girl. So I think people are these operators are much more aware now going in. Will someone make a mistake? For sure, but I think they're much more aware as they approach these things.
DB had a question. He says, did the smaller space pay a premium per dollar per square foot rate in retail?
Yes, typically they do. It's like anything else, if you buy in bulk, meaning you're going for 10,000 square feet on a per square foot, will probably be dollar for dollar less on a per square foot basis than something that's half the size, even a quarter of the size. The rates move, based on that, and then they certainly move based upon positioning. Whether it's in a shopping center or on a street front, you pay a premium for a corner or an end cap or a drive-through, things like that.
So I would say, based on like our conversations, that retail and retail real estate is part psychology and part street smarts. particularly when you're in New York City, right? And I would assume it actually would be anywhere.
It's actually I apologize for cutting you off on the question, but it's actually everywhere. There are classes taught on this. I remember back in the day, early on, getting involved. Every single thing, when you look at a supermarket, that you guys go to big supermarkets. I don't have big markets, but it's everywhere. You look at supermarkets, product placement on shelves is a psychology. Part of it, part of it is money, right? Part of it's money. You know, if you want to sell Kellogg cereals, their shit's going to be at eye level. Okay. The other guy's cereal is going to be below or above.
Yep.
But there's a psychology to all of that. It's a psychology to the impulse items that are all at the counter as you're getting ready to pay and waiting in line. Oh shit, I'm fly. I need a Snickers bar. I'm picking one up.
How do you know I love the impulse buys? I love them.
Because you're an impulse. If you weren't an impulse person, we wouldn't know each other, right? You flagged me down impulsively, right?
No, but that's so real. And like,
I
was just talking about this on a space last night about one of my favorite things to do is like go walk around like Sprouts and like just look at what kind of like new weird products that they have.
Yeah.
But then the psychology too, you know, I'll walk around with my 6-year-old. Now, granted, she's 4 feet tall. She's taller than the average 6-year-old, but like she has a different eye level, right? And so then she's like, "Whoa, look at those popsicles!" I'm like, "All right, put it in the cart. Let's go." You know?
Yeah, and this is a science. That is not random. There's a science to all of that.
So so when you're bringing new brokers on, right? And you've brought on a couple new ones in the last
2 years. I got 2 new guys. Yeah.
How do you teach that? How do you mentor them to get them to understand what's the best fit for a space for a prospect or client?
Well, you gotta literally walk them through it, conversationally, and then sometimes you go out and physically feel and touch things, but you got to talk to them through it because not everybody. I picked up a young kid. He's a salesman. I forgot what he was selling. I forgot some product, metal products or something like that. He was just a salesman, and he wanted to get out of it. We start talking about it, so I got to educate him a little bit on perspective and talk, and some of it sometimes is too hard to teach, sort of like from a book, so to speak. It has to be a different form of your word, experiential. They have to be out there and see something happen and then come back to me with a question, and that allows me to explain it through. But if you just look at a space, an empty space somewhere, and you're talking to, whether it's a young broker or someone who's been around the block, you have to look at some of the basic things. What we talk about a lot here in the city, and I think it's talked about everywhere, because restaurants, whether they're QSRs or they're entrepreneurial creative restaurants, they've been the thing here in New York City for the last several years. And so what you want to find out about that empty box is, first, can you cook? And is that going to create opportunity? Are you allowed to? Because there are certainly, Class A office buildings, or there's Upper East Side condominium buildings or co-ops or whatever that won't allow for it. Okay. And so if you can't cook, you take away that option as a potential tenant for the space, then we have to start thinking about who fits there best. What do? We look at the population density in a particular area. We look at the makeup of those people, right? If you're in Midtown, you have the office worker. It's a 5-day push in terms of your population. If you're on the Upper East Side, your Upper West Side, it's 7 days a week. It's neighborhood. It's probably breakfast and dinner on Monday to Friday, and then it's three opportunities on the weekends, things like that. And then you start backing into it. And you start backing into categories. What's going on? What you got to keep on top of the market? What's hot out there? Right now, gyms, physical fitness on fire, large and small. Whether it's the big guys doing lifetimes or it's just boutique fitness, things like that. And so, yeah.
Is that true for New York City, or is that true? Are you talking nationwide?
That actually is nationwide.
Okay.
Thank you, Gen Z, for that. Gen Z loves the gym. That's all I can say.
Yes. That's a business that was in the grave, and they were throwing dirt on it when COVID happened, and it bounced back nicely. Which is great.
what makes New York retail different than every other market out there? Like, because we talk about this all the time. Like what are we looking at vacancy rates wise, right? Like, I know that shit's, you guys are looking for space, right?
Yeah, so your questions are all great, but they're like three questions in one. So I'm going to try to grab them. I'm going to try to.
First, what
what's
makes
that?
New York retail different than every other retail?
Well, the first and foremost is always that it's the most expensive, like in the world, and people have to deal with that. But for that, you get, for the most part, you get more density than you get anywhere else. I remember years and years ago when companies came to town, and they when they came from out of state and they were coming to New York for the first time, and the real estate people had to justify to their bosses, sort of at the home office, about the rents, and they was all used to working off of the demographic ring, right? How many people in a half mile? How many people in a mile? How many people in 2 miles? We don't have that. Okay, we have vertical density.
Okay.
Okay.
Explain that to us.
The buildings go up. All the people are straight above you. So you have all of those people. You're in a large building, you get all the people within that building. So you have that aspect of it. Plus you have all the transit hubs that are just feeding you bodies. And so what I started years ago with the companies we've been involved with is that we do, the demographic programs that we're involved with can do a 2-block pull. What's going on right within the 2 blocks? And that's really where your customer is. I've been, I grew up here, as you know, and I remember years. Is a funny story. Years ago, there was a supermarket chain called Food Emporium. They're no longer around, and they did like this fabulous new. It was very creative. It was in a landmark location, and it was 59th Street and First Avenue here in the city. Okay, and at the time, I lived at 63rd Street and 2nd Avenue. Okay, so you say 4 blocks in an avenue, and he's like, you and your wife, you're definitely going to be customers. I'm like, no, this is too far. This is too far away, because I had a supermarket a block from my house, and that's the New York City mentality. So, and I have that, and I have traffic pattern examples that would blow your mind when we were rolling out Dwayne Reed drugstores back in the day, and people would say, "Wait, you're at 57th and 6th, and you're at 55th and 6th, and what?" And I could show you the numbers that tie into the patterns of the streets. And so that's a real big differentiator for us as a city, that we could do that kind of thing. Now, everybody's not coming in and rolling out that many stores, but you could look at, we have more freaking Dunkin' Donuts and Starbuckses and things like that than you can imagine, because of the volume of people that we have. And it's a big thing. It's a real big thing.
I'm going to jump in on my other questions. Is it a surprise to you when you see like a franchise fail in New York City? I don't think we've ever talked about this.
No, it's not a surprise. And it's interesting because when you go around the country, right? What's his name? What's his Weiss with the sites website? Raphael Weiss. He's got a great thing going. That's an awesome thing that he's doing.
You got to get him on, by the way.
Yeah. Tell him I'm promoting him, right? But it's an awesome thing. But and that, like a lot of these national things, don't play so well in New York. New York City, generally speaking, is not franchisee friendly, because while the logo's on the door, if I'm the landlord, I just got mom and pop who's operating the place. It's great. It's great that Duncan or whoever approved them. That's wonderful. But I just got a guy, and if he fails, he fails. So it's not usually about the brand. It's usually about the operator.
Okay. How do you? This might come off as a shitty question. Do you ever have somebody walk in wanting space, and you're like, "Yeah, no"?
I'm not sure exactly how that plays, but I probably wouldn't do it in that exact dialogue, right? It might call for a little bit more of nuance.
So like, for example, like strip mall guy, our friend Don Tepman famously is like, dry cleaners are the death of a strip mall because of the chemical stuff,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so like for you, do you have any like hardline stuff like that? It's kind of like, is that what you're trying to ask, Mo? Where you're like,
no, I just like,
Oh, okay.
there's people who want to open, like, it's the American dream, right? Open up your own, for some people, open up your own business, right? But there's so much shit that goes into actually opening up a business.
Oh, totally.
And I'm sure there's tons of people who are like, if we can make it in New York City, we can make it anywhere, right? And so they come in and they're like, I want to look at the space, and then you have to qualify. So are there people who walk in that you not immediately know, but after a couple of questions, just absolutely know, like, you're not renting this space? Like, this
well, maybe not that space, but maybe you qualify them, right? Because as brokers, the most valuable asset we have is our time. Right, we're only making money if we're making deals. So if some guy calls me up and says, I want to open up this store at this location, let's go do it, and then I go run around as a broker and try to show him all these things, and every single one of them are $20,000 a month, and then I find out he's got a $5,000 a month budget. As a broker, that's shame on me, right?
Right.
So after you do this for a while, you understand some of the key questions to ask, and you qualify them, right? Hey, I want to open up a store on Madison Avenue. I want to be by all the jewelry stores, and I want to do this. And what is it? What is the product that you're selling again, sir? Oh, I want to sell pizza because no one else is selling pizza there. Ain't gonna happen, right? And obviously I'm being extreme, but you qualify people. I mean, we get calls all the time, right? We have signs on stores, and so people will get calls. We get some random guys and gals that'll call, and you talk to them and say, okay, you tell them about that space, it's not for them, and then you as a broker say, oh, where else might you be looking? And they say Manhattan. And that's not good enough. You got to break it down, right? Because there's 100 at least sub-markets within Manhattan. And so you want to understand what their product is. If it's different, if it's pizza, it's pizza. But if there's something different, you want to understand the product. You want to understand their experience level, so you know what you're dealing with. And you want to have an understanding of what their budget's like. And a lot of people have champagne taste and beer budgets, and you got to walk through that. There's your clip. Go get that one, Fly.
I want to ask, are we rolling, or where are we at in the time?
We're still good.
Okay, cool.
As long as Cory's
I want to get to the fun questions too. Okay.
No, I'm good. I blocked out an hour. I wasn't sure how long we were going to go. Okay.
Fabulous. Okay, so I do want to get to a question, and then Fly can get to the fun questions. There was something that you said to Chris Okada about not an exit strategy, but an opportunity strategy. And that was such a sound clip. Like, that was so freaking good. Right. I want you to explain to the audience what you mean about opportunity strategy, because this was something I didn't know about you. And granted, we've only been friends for like 3 years now, but
can't tell you everything.
Has it really only been that long?
The first phone call that I had with Cory, Beth introduced me to Cory, and they were talking about their marketing, and I flat out told them, I was like, you guys are doing everything right. Here's a couple of things I would change, but like, y'all don't need me.
Oh yeah, right. No, shout out Stephanie.
Yes, shout out Steph Malloy.
Yeah, I hear you. But
who needs a raise?
Stephanie who?
We got you, babe. Don't worry.
Stephanie who?
All right. So opportunity strategy versus exit strategy.
All right. And I didn't expect the question, but I've been asked it before. And that's more of a broad sort of Cory Zelnik and Company question, right? It's less about the day-to-day brokerage stuff.
Right.
And so when you operate as an independent company, and there's not a lot of us, throughout the city, and not everybody, but a fair amount of us get calls about, going to the big boys and selling your company, and we'll write your check. And I did that early on. I always listen to everybody. I know everybody in the business. I'm always happy to take a cup of coffee with somebody. By the way, did you know who Marianne Ty is?
Yes.
Mo?
Oh my gosh, I love that woman.
So let me. I'm diverting, and I'll come back. So Marianne Ty is a living legend. Okay, she's a living legend here in New York City in the brokerage, and she and I are great friends. And she was recruiting me years ago to the point where people thought we were dating, and so and obviously I did not end up there, and we ended up friends. And I thought it was cute that she gave us a like this morning on the social. She liked your ChatGPT picture, and I saw that because she just I would say probably within the last 3-4 months, maybe 6 months, proactive on LinkedIn.
Right.
Now, if you look around the room, you have to be at her level at a big company like that to be able to do it, right? Because nobody else does it. But she's wonderful. She's great. She's a rock star. I know Bob did his interview. Next time, tell him to sit the fuck up straight. What the hell was he doing in his chair? Fucking slump. What the fuck was that? Jesus. Come on, Knackle.
That was the best. That was the best interview. She is the most fascinating woman. There's very, very rarely that I listen to a podcast, and I don't care. I'm not talking about clients. I talk about whatever, that I actually am excited to explain to what the heck about what I just listened to.
Yeah, she is. Yes. Unbelievable resume. Unbelievably smart. Unbelievably eloquent in her speech. She's just, she's like that full package of all of that stuff.
Please tell her I'm a huge fangirl. I'm just like, I'm a huge, seriously, I just listening to her story, I was like, why is this not a book yet? Why is this not a freaking movie? She worked for the White House, okay? And just kind of not necessarily waltzed her way in, but wild how she got the story behind how she got the job. Yep. And just a super fascinating woman. Okay, Marianne Todd, go.
So anyway, what happens is that you speak to these people, and the big companies, they just have a formula. They just do 47 times EBITDA over the square root of X, blah blah blah. We'll pay you this, and it's not enough, right? And then you have a job, and so I've avoided that, and I'm sitting here where I'm sitting here, and so I don't have a planned exit strategy. I'm not looking to take somebody's check and become a part of their company or anything like that. And so and I came up with this a while back about it being an opportunity strategy, is because I sit where I sit, meaning in my company, I don't have anyone to answer to. I don't have partners. And so throughout time and meeting people, things have happened, right? I've got opportunities to buy in partnerships of shopping centers. So I own real estate because of where I sit. Right. And part of it comes with, I have established a reputation. I know what I know, and people want to share on that, but we're having that conversation. I have a side business with a partner who operates it day to day.
This absolutely blew my mind.
Well, it's a lot of what we put out, look, we put out Zelnik Co. That's what I do. I'm a retail guy. That's what, right? Engage, educate, blah, blah, blah. This is the shit I know. That's right. Close your mouth, fly. And so that is something, it's a side hustle. Again, I have an operating partner unrelated to the business, and we buy single family homes, and it's Section 8 housing. The government's is my tenant, and so we do that. I still come to work every day, right? I don't have a portfolio of 9,000 homes, but maybe one day. So again, it's because I'm here. My partner's name is Anthony. I met Anthony because I'm sitting here. And we came across each other through some mutual connection, One conversation leads to the next, and all of a sudden we're doing something. And so that's the opportunity strategy that I like to point to. It's not scientific. It's not sitting here on a piece of paper that tomorrow, in order to make this work, we got to do this. It's not that at all. It's just, being available. So as they say, when opportunity knocks.
Right. So I've got a business deal for you.
You didn't know that I'm going to be a part owner of Movo Media soon, did you?
I didn't know that. Is that the conversation you want to have?
That's opportunity knocking, sister.
I already told. Wait, never mind. Never mind. I was about to say something, but I forgot that we're on LinkedIn too.
Am I the only one who can keep Fly speechless?
We try to behave somewhat to keep the F-bombs.
Understood.
I'm not trying to behave anymore. No.
It's not like Cup of Joe where we're
No, I mean, listen, like one of the things I'm going to just interject here for a second.
Please.
Because it's shocking. It's shocking. Cory also doesn't seem to have any sense of time because he twice he was like, I've known Fly for like 4 years or whatever. And it really hasn't been that long. But one of the things, so it's surprising to me that also your relationship, the two of you, and then like the three of us together, like it's really all very new, right?
Right.
But it's just, when people connect, they connect. And, when people run the ball, they run the ball together, and, but one of the things so I met Cory had busted his foot in the fall of 24, and so he couldn't come to CREI in Atlanta, and he had the biggest FOMO ever. And so there I am, and I'm like making a splash and all this stuff, and Cory's like, who the fuck is this girl? And so I met and then yada yada yada. Faraz invited me to the map room opening. I met him there. We had a nice chat, and then we sat outside Rock Center. He bought me a smoothie, and we talked. And one of the things, one of the things that he said to me was about, relationships and doing business with people and transacting, and just like the long term gains of being connected with people. And it really, I'm just having my little Zelnik fangirl moment of just like that conversation really changed my outlook and my perspective on what was possible in the business. And also being able to be like, because look, I'm really freaking impatient. I'm ambitious and I'm impatient. And sometimes that's good. And sometimes I run myself into the ground. But it's just, I have to land the plane on this sentence. But I guess what I was trying to say is, I just love you too. That's all. Okay, carry on.
No. And look, I get that, right? It's not, I don't need subtitles. I know how you speak, and I get it, and I appreciate it. And I think that it's a credit. It's a credit to all of us in terms of who we are as human beings and our personalities and our depth of warmth for each other when we understand people and appreciate people. Okay, I think that we're all sort of out there. It's on our sleeve, as they say. And the fact of the matter is, what also makes us maybe not unique, but certainly similar, is that if any one of us was not who we portray ourselves to be, we'd know it in a heartbeat and it'd be game over. And so we don't do that. And that's why we are three.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's you talk about IRL to or URL to IRL, right? So from online to in person. And when was the first time we met, Cory? Like actually in person?
Was our in person that first gala? Was it that?
I think it was, yeah.
So I'm jumping in. Okay, so let's just assume. I think it is, but so I'm going to play right through this. Okay, so we meet at this gala for the first time in real life. Okay, this is now 3 years ago at the gala. We had been speaking before that, so we're at the gala. And Tepman says this all the time, that it's one of the greatest pictures ever in gala history when you and I and Faraz are cracking up. Right, there's this great picture. Someone caught it. I don't know how. Right, and we use it, and we throw back Thursdays and whatever. But what people don't realize is that the reason we're there cracking up is because, like, I'm meeting Mo for the first time, and we're hugging each other, and because of Mo's stature, she hugged me, and I'm like, Jesus, your rack just hit into my phone, and so.
By the way, Brandon Weiss has joined us on Instagram. Hey, babe. And then also shout out to Cory Zelnik for sneaking the frick up on Brandon in the street the other day and taking that. Brandon texted me. He was like, I almost turned around and punched him because he didn't know it was you. Anyway, sorry.
But that was how you and I met, because your rack hit into my phone. We were cracking up, and that was the greatest picture of all time. And so we are, we do what we do, and that's us, and whatever. By the way, the Brandon thing was so funny because I was coming up from behind. I noticed him, and I was coming up from behind him, and I was on a call, and he was on a call, so I wasn't going to interrupt him, and I just put my arm around him and took the snap, and basically slapped 5 and kept walking, and that was it.
Oh, so yeah,
I'm trying to
we
find
have
it.
this. We have a fabulous connection, and I super appreciate you being
Yes.
here with us. Yes, there's the picture right there. You can see his face. He's like,
he did.
I know.
He texted me like right after it happened, and he was like, he was like oh, of the adrenaline.
okay.
Really
Last
okay,
but not least, before we leave.
Yes.
Before we leave.
No,
okay.
but I also have other questions that I wanted to ask that I didn't send you because I didn't do my homework. ICSC. ICSC is next week, babe. You gonna see there? Did he
Looks
freeze?
like it.
Oh,
What's
no.
that?
Hello.
Did I freeze? I was listening to the question.
Okay. You're gonna be at ICSC?
It should be there. Look out.
Okay, great. I know you're busy, so I won't try to catch you, but I'll give you a kiss on the cheek when I see you in the casino.
You will.
Because there's no reason for us to meet. You gotta
no.
I gotta work. You gotta work. We're standing on business, but it's just nice to give you a hug. But
right.
Okay, listen. Trending on X right now.
Yes.
On X right now are everybody's doing their tips for ICSC posts, and I'm loving it because I know. Well, here's the eye rolling thing because everyone is specifically like, this is not a post that's going to say wear sensible shoes and hydrate. Although I can't tell everybody how many times that Cory Zelnik had to tell me to wear sensible shoes. I still may not listen because I want to look cute. However, and then you and I, when I was in the ICSC creator program, you and I did I did like my little cold call and I was like, give me advice and all this stuff. And you gave me great advice and maybe I'll repost it. But I want your, like right now, unfiltered, what is the biggest mistake that you could make at ICSC if it's your first time?
Well, if it's your first time, it's actually going to be hard to have had meetings set up because if it's your first time, you're a newbie and you're just hoping to get them. But if you really gotta you gotta plan it as though you're planning anything, and the facility, the convention center, is humongous, right? You can't plan a meeting over there and over there. You just can't. You can't get, without having a window. So I know that all of my meetings always, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter where they are, I slot them with a 15-minute window between each meeting. So to the best that I can, certain things you can't, but to the best I can, there's always a 15-minute window in the middle, right? And maybe it's not getting sort of crosstown in the convention center, but it may be you need a bathroom break, you need a water break, whatever. So, and this goes back. I gave a reminder to one of my boys yesterday. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance.
Love.
Set
also,
yourself
why
up
did
right.
you not give me that advice the first time around? Because last year I was literally running from North and South Hall because I'm also an idiot. I'm sorry.
Well, I apologize. Maybe you should ask the question.
Didn't ask the question.
That's all. That's it. That's the only ICSC thing I wanted to. That's the only thing I wanted to.
You got it.
Okay. And then also, do you know that there's a Knicks game next week where everyone's going to be there?
I'm pretty familiar with the schedule.
So that was actually going to be my question. How are your boys doing?
So here's the thing. My boys are doing great. The earliest we'll know the Knicks schedule, meaning where they're going to play, will be tomorrow night. Okay. If now Cleveland wins, then we're in the Garden Sunday. If Detroit wins, we're in Detroit Tuesday.
Okay.
So that's what the schedule looks like. So if I happen to be in Vegas on Tuesday and they're in Detroit, that's okay. It'll be on all the scoreboards and stuff like that. If Cleveland wins, then we may have a little situation.
Besides Bailey, who's the coolest person that you've ever sat next to at a Knicks game?
The coolest person?
Or the most famous?
He hasn't taken me to a game.
Well, the most famous? I guess most famous is somewhat subjective, right?
True.
Like, because look, certainly Jay-Z is pretty well known. Most recently, I literally had the Gary V next. We sat the whole game beating each other up over all the plays on the court because the guy who has the seats next to me sells his tickets all the time. He lives in Florida most of the year. He sells his tickets. And so Bailey and I walked in, and Gary Vee was sitting next to me with his kid. So Gary Vee and I sat together. So that's probably the closest overall. But I've had.
You're not allowed to do that anymore.
Won't happen again. Next time, Gary Vee's going to change seats.
There you go.
Right.
We have a theory. There's a theory because they lost that game. And
That's
it's because
correct.
Bailey and Cory changed seats.
Right. We have our regular positioning, and I have a selfie for every game we ever go to since they created this Apple phone, and so we have the same shot every time, and that's the one that's opposite. Although the funny part is that when we took the picture that night, Bailey's like, "Oh, I look good from that side."
That's so funny. I can't wait. So in my mind, like when she gets married, there's a montage of 1 second clips of you guys at all of these games going
What did
through.
you say?
From,
what did you say?
I said it. I said it.
Cory is short circuiting right now.
Cory is short circuiting.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
All right. Okay. If people want to get in touch with you, Mr. Cory Zelnik, how do they do that?
You can go to my handle on Twitter, X, whatever, Instagram, LinkedIn is Cory Zelnik, just as my name appears on the screen. You can hit me through Zelnik Co on all the same channel, on all the same systems or whatever. And then if you want to go like fucking nuts, ready? 212-223-2200. Call me.
I love it. Oh, you're such
Call
a daddy.
me. Call
such
me.
a daddy. Oh my God.
Call me.
Or do the FaceTime.
Okay, yeah. So Cory's infamous for FaceTiming us. And
yes. By the way, Stephanie's a big fan of the FaceTime thing too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I still haven't I don't have my Zelnik case yet, and I stopped dropping it, by the way. But I'm getting a custom case made and have my little Z, so I can have a little coordinate. It's gonna be
all right. What's up, Russell? Hey, get a case on that thing, huh? I ain't replacing that motherfucker.
Okay, DB reminded me before we head out.
Yes.
What the heck? We need the music, and there it is. How do you say guacamole?
Guacamole.
No, you said it guacamole, and I was so disgusted and so disappointed.
I don't know. Hey, the whole guacamole thing, I think, came from when I was doing my, it's a spin-off of my Sopranos. That sounds like right, because Jessica kicks my ass because I'm like mozzarella, gabagool, prosciutto. Right, and when I do that, because I think I'm in the fucking Sopranos.
You are,
Jessica,
baby, you are.
Jessica goes to like the language thing on the phone to have them pronounce it properly, and it's mozzarella, and I'm like mozzarella.
Yeah, I love it. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of Social Surge with Cory Zelnik.
I love you guys.
Tuesday, love you too. Next Tuesday, we're gonna have Bob. We're gonna have Bob Knackle on talking about the Knackle Dealmakers Network, and of course, we'll also probably be chit-chatting about ICSC. All right, everybody, we'll see you back here.
I will be live for my CSC.
She will be
love
live.
You. Send me that song.
Yes, we'll send it to you.
New York. Bye.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.